tonight or find my way back to civilization on foot. Got one, Vince. Remember how I was telling you about key spots?
I got one too.
You got one too. What's going on here is you caught that big one at the end of the bluff over there, and now we're at the other end in the pocket, and this is where they're stacked up on this end. Oh, they're like twins.
Ooh.
Good fish.
Right.
Good fish there. These are keepers.
So, wow, this is another key area. What was key about this spot that you saw?
It's the other end of the bluff. You caught the big fish on that end of the bluff. We worked down it. I only had one bite, broke them off, but then we got into this pocket and they're stacked up at this end too. So that's the key to that.
Charlie, we're easily going down this bank very slowly, very controlled. Is equipment have anything to do with that, or is it the wind? How are you manipulating this boat to keep us in right position?
Well, you know, the new Minn Kota Fortrex motors are real stealthy, real easy to control. I like the way the foot pedal's set up opposed to the older models, and I think it's actually a quieter running version of the old Minn Kota Maxims, and I like it.
Now, you recommend when guys are fishing this kind of stuff, you keep it on continuous on? Should you do it on where it's you start it when you hit it, or does that scare the fish? What do you recommend?
No, it's a good question. Typically, I'll try and keep it on constant on when I'm fishing in super shallow water, where I feel like you're so close to the fish that any on and off, sudden on and offs with the motor will spook them off the bank. But these fish we're catching here, again, anywhere from 25 to 50 feet of water, and they're not so concerned about the trolling motor noise, so I can stop it, start it as I see fit, and not spook the fish.
Good.
Even Thunder Valley guys can catch them out here.
We didn't really show it on the camera, but we've been fishing this bluff wall. This is like the last major bluff wall up the river. And we're catching a lot of fish, but they're all this size, so they're getting smaller. So, you know, you're not gonna win any boat catching small fish like that. So it's time to go.
Time to move it.
We either gotta get back, fish something a little different, or head back out on the main lake. Stay tuned for more hot tips on how to prepare right for the future Pro Tour Classic at Lake New Melones.
What does winning look like at Thunder Valley Casino? Oh yeah. And with our points for free slot play program and thousands of jackpots of $500 or more every single day. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thunder Valley Casino.
Precision-built performance, responsive engineering, and revolutionary design. Welcome to the accelerated look, feel, and all-out muscle of the Ranger Z520 Comanche. Powered with the 250 HO Evinrude E-Tech, the only outboard with no dealer scheduled maintenance for 3 years. This rig is built to excel. The Ranger Z520 and Evinrude 250 HO. Don't just separate yourself from the pack, leave it. Evinrude E-Tech. Spend more time on the water.
Always check to ensure that your propeller is properly serviced by removing the prop and hardware and using a good marine grade lube for the spindle. And remember to top off as necessary all fluids such as oil, add any fuel stabilizers, add hydraulic steering fluids. Secure your electronics to protect them from the elements and long bumpy runs. Free trolling motor spindles from any debris such as old fishing line to ensure maximum performance. Check your battery charging hardware and your battery's connections and fluid levels. We moved upriver and found standing timber and wood, which could be prime swim bait areas. Charlie, we've moved up into another area. Looks like we're back further in the river. A lot of trees, a lot of shale rock. What's going on in this area? Why?
All right, well, as we moved up the river, we found out that the wind's actually blowing, and sometimes it can be calm on the mid-lake and windy up the canyon arms, and it's pretty steep terrain here. We're actually fishing another big bend in the river, and this is an island that sits smack dab in the middle of it. And from looking at my Navionics Platinum card, this is the deepest drop-off right along this edge here. And you know, we're looking to find a combination of trees, drop-off, and shade, and this is perfect with wind blowing on it. So I'm anticipating we're gonna get bit here and probably by some bigger fish. So this looks like a big fish spot to me. I'm kind of trusting my instincts and just throwing this big lunker punker.
Looks a lot clearer here too. The water's a little clearer because it's deeper.
Yep, and just hoping I can get a big blow up on this thing. You know, if we were like pre-fishing right before the tournament started, I wouldn't have hooks on this. But you know, we're still a couple weeks out, so it's okay to stick them. But anytime you're fishing like the day prior or 2 days prior, you should remove your hooks on your big fish baits, because nothing worse than catching a 5-pound spot the day before the tournament.
Well,
Knowing that,
I've always thought that topwater bait was for morning.
most guys think that, and I'm glad they think that, because a lot of the top pros know better. Yes, it's always a good morning bait, but again, in the afternoon when you get the shade and the wind in the right places, it can be just as deadly, if not more deadly then. Right now we're sitting in 70 feet of water and we're less than 30 yards from shore, so this is definitely proving to be that steep drop off that I saw in my Navionics chip.
Oh, I keep forgetting you got this wig weightless or weedless.
Yep. Yeah,
That's why I'm not getting hung up. I was one, I go, damn.
You can throw it right in the goodies.
That's what I've been careful. I've been nipping it around the edges, you know. Once.
So Vince, we're fishing the big bridge piling here at the mouth of the Stanislaus as we're headed up the river, and it's stacked with fish, as you can see on the graph.
Yeah, looking pretty good.
You know, this time of year, you always have shade on one side of these pilings. You're out where the wind's blowing into it, and it's a great ambush spot for these spotted bass. And I know in lakes like Shasta, Oroville, you can win tournaments off them. I don't know about these ones, but we're going to check them out and see what we can come up with here.
Okay. Now, how deep do these normally run?
Well, I mean, this is the center piling of the bridge, and we're in 155 feet of water. So, but the fish ain't down in 155 feet. It looks from here, just like in the other spots we were fishing, they're anywhere between 50 and 70 feet.
Now, are they relating directly? Do you cast up directly against the pilings, or do you cast away from the pilings and let it drop? Explain to us how that works.
It depends. You know, I like to start close to the piling, you know, because a lot of bigger fish will use that as their ambush point. They'll sit right at the corners on the shady side, and as the wind blows the schools of bait bat, they'll dart out and grab it.
Okay.
But, you know, when they're actively feeding on a school of bait, once they start attacking it, they'll come out here 20, 30 yards off the piling. It's okay, but typically to get the action started, you want to be right up against that piling. God, they are stacked down there. That means
Here it goes.
they're bigger ones.
Jeez. It's a good fish, Charlie.
I don't know, we're gonna find out. He's not bad. You know. He's
Right.
fat again. So, you know, I tried the slower falling baits, the dart head, drop shot, grub. Seems like the only way I could get him to react is the real fast fall of the spoon. The erratic action seems to trigger him. Now we should stay here a little bit longer and see if we can activate the whole school.
Okay, trying to activate that school. All right, that's the key.
Don't change that channel, as we'll be right back with more hot tips on how to properly prepare for the future Pro Tour Classic at Lake New Melones.
The Thunder Valley Free Fantasy Football Challenge. Win up to $10,000 a week. All the thrills of winning without the risk of serious injury. Exclusively at the jackpot capital of California, Thunder Valley Casino.
What's new? That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're like a big theme park. Can't see everything in one day.
West Marine. We've got everything a boater needs.
Come see.
Being unprepared during competition is one of the quickest ways to take yourself out of the game. And West Marine carries a full line of some of the highest quality boating wear and foul weather gear available. Gear such as name brand shirts and light outerwear, sunblock protection, cold weather headgear, and a complete line of West Marine's signature foul weather jackets and pants. And you'll never be lost in a storm, as you can now take Navionics mapping information wherever you go by uploading Navionics maps to your iPhone. Simply go to the iPhone App Store and download all the maps you'll need. Charlie, we caught a lot of fish in a lot of different areas, and I noticed that it was apparent that we were using two particular types of bait, and I'd like you to break down those types of baits for the guys who are going to be fishing New Melones at the Classic. Would you do that for us?
You got it, Vince. Yeah, fishing with you as a team partner, we were definitely able to break down the lake real quick and really dial in what they're keying on as the fall turnover takes over. This is typical in this type of lake, where the fish will start suspending and feeding on an abundance of shad, which seem to be all over the lake. We found the better schools around major points and steep wall drop-offs. And the two key baits that we triggered most of our bites on were a spoon, and we noticed that the fish that we were catching were spitting up lots of small bait. 2-inch or smaller shad was the key, so here's a variety of spoons that imitate those type shad. And because they're gorging themselves constantly, it's important to trigger a reaction bite, and the spoon seems to do that better than any other bait this time of year.
Now I'm noticing that you have these spoons, and they've got some have swivels on them, some are just have split rings. Can you tell us what the difference is and why you use that and how to rig a spoon?
Yeah. Depending on the style of spoon, and we're going with smaller ones, slab type spoons this time of year, I'll just use a snap swivel so I can adjust colors slightly. I definitely use these two primarily, the Hopkins Shorty hammered, and again the reflective white Perco type spoon. So having a snap, I can switch over quickly. Some of the baits that can cause a lot of line twist, I'll add a swivel with a ball bearing swivel to eliminate a little bit of line twist. I don't think that mattered so much today. But the key is, along with a swivel and a snap to quickly change, is keep your hooks extra sharp, because a lot of these fish are slashing at the bait before they eat it, and with super sharp hooks, it's easier to get them hooked.
Do you recommend changing out the hook to maybe the premium Gamakatsu
Absolutely.
hook that they come with?
Absolutely. Premium Gamakatsus or extra wide gap like this also hold onto the fish better once they're hooked, so when they come up and jump, they don't throw the bait.
Okay. Last question on spoons. How about feathers on the bottom of them, sometimes to trigger that extra strike?
The reason I didn't use feathers today is because the shad are small, and when you add a feather, it kind of adds to the profile of the bait, and it made the bait look a little bit bigger. I'll use a feather a lot of times when the shad are bigger, but not today.
We also use the drop shot rig, and before I caught that big fish today, I had my drop shot rig around 4 inches from the bottom, and you told me to change, and that really triggered that bigger fish. Why did we do that, and could you tell us a little bit about drop shotting on new Melones?
Absolutely, and Vince, you caught one of the biggest fish of the day. It was close to 3 pounds. I think the reason you did is the bigger fish tend to stay a little bit lower than the schooling spotted bass as they target and tear apart these schools of shad. What happens is the injured shad start to fall towards the bottom, and the bigger fish are down there to take advantage. So what happened was the fish are suspended, so they're not right on the bottom. So we had to increase your length between the weight and where your hook is up to about 2 feet, and that seemed to trigger the bigger fish to bite. And again, we used a very finesse type bait. This is a Bastrix Flastrix shad, and in the trout color, which I like this time of year on any lake. And it totally imitates the forage they're feeding on right now. And because these fish can be so picky, you have to be very clever in what you're throwing at them.
Fantastic.
To do the trick.
Fantastic. Well, I hope you guys all learned a lot from that. That's breaking down these baits here, preparing for the Future Pro Tour Classic, which will be held on November the 7th at New Melones Reservoir. Stay tuned for more Future Pro action. Piranha Propellers, the ultimate boat propeller. Western anglers, get ready as the Future Pro Tour brings to your area the most exciting all-amateur bass fishing circuit in the West. Attend our informative how-to seminars hosted by the West top bass professionals. Win free premium tackle at each event and bring a youth to fish in our exclusive kids division. Entry fee is just $90 per team, so what are you waiting for? Call today and learn how to build your bass fishing skills at the Future Pro Tour, the most exciting bass fishing circuit in the West.
The Thunder Valley Free Fantasy Football Challenge. Win up to $10,000 a week. All the thrills of winning without the risk of serious injury. Exclusively at the jackpot capital of California, Thunder Valley Casino.
Well, Charlie, that was a lot of fun today, man. We had a lot of fun on the water. We accomplished what we set out to do, caught a lot of fish, and I think we've done something for these guys to hold on to for their pre-fish.
I sure do think so. Vince, you're fun to fish with. He can even catch fish behind me, and that's the way team partners should work together, you know? We covered 4 different patterns of the lake. We fished the main lake, back up the creeks, bridge pilings, steep bluffs, points and drop-offs with trees, and we're finding fish. You know, that's a first good day of practice, and you put 2 more days like that, search out the rest of the lake, and you're gonna be happening on tournament day.
And Charlie covered some of the more important things that you need besides just patterning and catching fish. You've got to go out there and prepare and have the right equipment, and you touched on that throughout the show. And guys, remember, it's nothing more important than getting out there and doing the work yourself. Practice and get out here and do some practice before the Classic takes place. We wish you all good luck. We'll see you out here in a few weeks for the Future Pro Tour Classic. Charlie, good fishing, everybody.
You got it. Good luck. We'll see you out there, guys.
This has been a special presentation of the Future Pro Tour, presented to help you build your bass fishing skills and for the benefit of our classic qualifiers, who have endured a full season of tough competition for the opportunity to be crowned the best amateur bass fishing team in the West. On behalf of Thunder Valley Outdoors, congratulations, and we'll see you at the Classic. For more information on how you too can be part of the most exciting bass fishing circuit in the West, log on to www.futureprotour.net or call 916-768-0938. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Thunder Valley Casino Future Pro Tour. The Future Pro Tour has been brought to you by Ranger Boats, Evinrude, Snag Proof, Navionics, Toyota Trucks, Lucky Craft, and these fine sponsors.